Welcome to the Budo Bite mini podcast, your essential guide to the fascinating world of Japanese Budo, culture and philosophy. I'm Alex Bennett, a long-time martial arts practitioner, researcher and writer based in Kyoto, Japan, with decades of experience training, teaching and navigating the rich complexities of Budo. Hi there. Today we're diving into Hyakuren Jitoku, which is a useful Budo concept that I think is really worth unpacking. It translates literally as self-acquisition through 100 repetitions. But there's much more depth here than just the surface meaning. And I was visiting a dojo for the first time recently, and as soon as I stepped inside, I saw this massive piece of calligraphy on the wall, and the calligraphy was Hyakuren Jitoku, which was pretty much a clear statement to all of the dojo members that there ain't no shortcuts in the world of Budo. It's all about hard work and repetition, hours, days, even years of relentless, sometimes, let's face it, really boring repetition and rote memorization. Actually, Hyakuren Jitoku seems to be the motto for many dojos across Japan for various different Budo, so it's common to all of the Budo arts. And a quick translation breakdown, well, Hyaku means 100. Then translates as refining or forging. Ji refers to self, and Toku means acquisition, to gain something. So together, if you put all these together, Hyakuren Jitoku, they evoke someone patiently training, refining themselves, and getting better through persistent effort. Just like a blacksmith hammering raw iron over and over, folding it into what becomes eventually a beautiful sword. Now notably, the character Ren specifically insinuates removing impurities. Actually, the kanji for ren is often paired up with shu to make renshu, and this means practice. It's usually the word for practicing sports or practicing musical instruments. Not so much Budo, because we say keiko in the case of Budo, but practice anyway is interesting in itself because it's very close to this Hyakuren Jitoku idea. Shu is made up of the two characters of white and wings, which basically means a fledgling bird showing its white underfeathers as it frenetically flaps its wings learning how to fly. So the word is different, but I think it's a very nice way of envisaging the meaning of Hyakuren Jitoku. So think of Hyakuren Jitoku less as achieving mastery after doing something exactly 100 times. That's not what it means. It means understanding yourself through continuous effort, continuous refinement, continuous toil. It's not literally counting repetitions. 100 times, I'm done. 1,000 days, I'm done. It's nothing like that, but it's recognizing the deep dedication required to genuinely improve. Actually, another version of it is Hyakuren Taitoku, and Taitoku means to remember with the body. So there's a traditional saying, of course, that captures this idea nicely. 無理という無理なる技の数尽くせ、技の妙所を擬得するまで. And this means to attempt techniques that seem impossible or difficult and push through their endless variations until you naturally grasp the subtle essence hidden within. Now, this approach applies equally to advanced techniques and the fundamental skills, the kihon. But truly getting this idea can be a little bit tricky because it's really easy to mistake practice itself for the goal and becoming overly focused on counting sessions or counting days or years without genuinely internalizing the lessons. So Hyakuren Jitoku underscores the idea that real proficiency only comes from hard work. Having said that, everyone's journey is unique, but the constant factor is unwavering dedication through repetition. But how you internalize and adapt these various ideas as you're training over and over again, this is a very personal matter, deeply personal matter. Historically, Hyakuren Jitoku is, it's really deeply woven into Japanese martial arts, but not only the martial arts, also the performing arts in Japan. Now, traditionally, Budo students were not encouraged to break things down and debate lofty theories. They were drilled over and over in the movements, thousands, tens of thousands of times, until every strike, every technique, every stance, every body movement became second nature. I first learnt this idea in the dojo once when I made the mistake of asking my sensei to break down a really difficult technique step by step so that I could get it. And I was hoping that there would be a shortcut to really remembering the ins and outs, the intricacies that I needed to remember in order to be able to perform this technique. But his response was, well, as it was always, quite blunt, of course, quite simply, shut up and do it. You'll get it eventually. You'll get it if you do it. You won't get it if you do it once or twice. You'll get it if you do it thousands of times. And then it won't need to be explained to you. This was kind of like the typical way of explaining things in Budo, and it has been until recently, I guess. The way in which Budo is taught is quite, it goes against the norms of what is considered modern, efficient educational processes and teaching processes. But I think it's still valid. The modern teaching methods emphasize detailed explanations and demonstrations and immediate feedback. And these have obviously clear benefits, but the old school practice of learning through pure repetition, rote memorization, also has a special value of its own, I think. Although I might not fully agree to that, that old teaching style all of the time, there's undeniable wisdom in it. And I think, if anything, it's nice to have a good balance between rote memorization, the old way of training, and perhaps more modern techniques as well that contextualize it a little bit better. Take learning a language, for example. You can study grammar, rules, and vocab lists all day, but true fluency happens when you practice conversation enough times that it becomes effortless. But in order to get to that point, you have to remember the words, or at least certain key words. And then you are able to apply them in various situations. You're able to contextualize it. And then gradually it's this mixture of both application and also rote memorization that enables you to communicate effortlessly. And trust me, things like kanji, oh my God, after thousands and thousands of hours of learning kanji, forgetting them, relearning them, that's the only way. It is really Hyakuren Jitoku, Senden Jitoku, Man-den Jitoku, and it just keeps going on and on. So there's no end to it, even though you have remembered it through your constant practice over and over again, ad nauseum. There's still no end to it. Musicians definitely get this, and I think using the example of musician perhaps might put it into context for most people. From what I understand, at least, nobody works harder in the Hyakuren Jitoku department than a classically trained musician, maybe a violinist or pianist or whatever, right? So understanding the chords and the scales and theory intellectually is really important, of course. But the real magic occurs when practice turns your fingers into instinctive performers and your ears into fine-tuned receptors. Recent studies into neuroscience also confirms this. Repetitive practice literally strengthens neural pathways in your brain. And over time, what began as hardcore, effortful practice becomes an automatic, almost subconscious skill that just appears when you need it as a part of your very being. There's something genuinely fulfilling about this continuous cycle of repetition. I mentioned before, it's a little bit boring, but at the same time, each practice session nudges you closer to truly understanding your art. In our, let's call it, instant gratification-driven world, Hyakuren Jitoku, it sort of invites us to slow down and savor the incremental progress and the little victories that come with stubborn toil. It's not about racing toward a non-existent finish line, but appreciating each step of improvement along the way. That's what I think Hyakuren Jitoku really means. Now, personally, especially now that I'm in my 50s, I've come to really value this concept because age brings inevitable changes. My muscles are disappearing on me, my strength is fading, my flexibility is decreasing, and of course my speed is declining, my body movement tends to be a little bit more clunkier than what it was before. But to cope, I've continuously adjusted and refined my techniques over and over to suit my body, and my body suits the techniques as well. So Hyakuren Jitoku isn't a milestone you cross off. It's an ongoing journey of continuous adaptation and personal growth that accompanies you through life. Growth doesn't stop at any particular age. It evolves as we do. So, ultimately, this idea of Hyakuren Jitoku, although it seems simple at first glance, really, if you look deep into what it is trying to say, it encourages us to embrace the beauty and satisfaction in every repetition. And it urges us to commit fully to ongoing growth, ongoing improvement. It also calls on us to cultivate virtues such as patience and belief that you can keep improving. And there is no need to resign or retire. There is no retirement. And that, in essence, is what the Budo way is all about.